Okay. Can you just chat, Jay, and I can have a little look, see where we're coming through on.
Yeah. 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 Yep. Yeah.
Lovely. Right.
Right, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
So,
So,
I have these things. You've probably looted some. They're called like Seeker Thread, where it's like, oh, you right click and it increases your fishing skill by 1 on a tool or something.
yeah.
So what you need is a tailor, which I just made one for my on my tailor. This camera is going to slap it in there. I just made one on my tailor to give to my fisher, my main character, and that enchants your fishing pole. And then every time you find one of those seeker threads or angler threads where you right click it, it increases your skill. It gives you like +1 perception onto your tool, and you can get up to 100 of that and other things added onto it as well. So I can make one for you. All you need to do is buy me 500 of this cloth, which is only about 1,500. Am I good? Right, you need to join up or make me the leader.
Cloth do I need?
Let me have a quick check. So I kind of did a workaround. So if you've got a tailor on this expansion, yeah?
Not yet.
Right, well. So what I need is 500 spool of weaver thread. Weaver thread, as in weaver thread, one word. Let me, so 500 of that. It binds to your warband actually, so you're going to need to do it. You're going to need to make it on someone, so don't buy it yet. It's weird. But essentially it makes this. Unless you can make a crafting order for it. I'm not sure I can make it and give it to you.
How many of them do I need? 300, did you say?
500. But
500.
do you hear what I'm saying? Make a crafting order. See if you can make a crafting order before buying the stuff from the auction house. If I make it for you without a crafting order, if you can make a crafting order for it, I won't be able to trade it to you because it binds the warband.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's not the fucking house, right? What's the character?
Ronan.
I have an extended supply of goods for Outlanders.
Do you have artisan QT as well?
Yep.
Okay, you do. Well, you just make it, and then just charge us how much it's going to be.
Lewis. Bind to Warband.
Yeah, I'll put the crafting order in.
Oh, you've put it in?
I will put it in.
Yeah, if you can make a crafting order for one, yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, sweet, yeah, do it and I'll fucking do it for you. That's pretty good then, because that'll fucking help the fishing. Just make sure you've got a good enough pole. My pole's 564. So I thought, fuck it, I'll use it on it. Could probably get better, but...
So here we are. High Speaker Eirich. Or is it just Eirich now? He's fled from the Hall of Awakening into the Stone Vault. He's probably running like a frightened mouse. Wee sleeked, cowering, timorous beastie.
Oh, this isn't good.
I'm out of range.
Oh, this isn't good.
No.
You popping cooldowns?
Just gonna get battered again. There you go. Can't heal that person.
Yeah, I don't know why he just solo pulled the grip. Oh, maybe he got feared into it.
Probably.
What's this? Is that Golem fused with something else? Titanic earthen technology enhanced with magical augments. Brilliant.
Activating defense protocols. Seismic protocol activated. Offensive measures engaged. Dominant intruder identified. Offensive measure seismic protocol activated. Offensive measures engaged. Seismic protocol activated.
Sorry.
Dominant intruder
Ah,
identified.
just getting YouTube chat working.
Offensive measures engaged.
Doing more healing than you? Oh, wait.
I've been
You
looking
just weren't
at a
doing
different
anything,
screen.
yeah.
No, I've been looking at a different
Just gonna
screen.
climb it up now. To be fair, like, I don't think you need to heal on boss fights. That's why John went the other spec on his monk.
Yeah,
It's just the trash is horrendous.
I'm gonna learn that though, because
Looks like the main door's
like
locked.
playing discipline,
Either one of these
Priest
paths
was
leads
fun.
to an access console.
so I kind of want to be a little bit more hands-on.
Oh my god. Look at the fucking damage.
Yeah. What have you done differently?
Just learning my rotation a bit better. And I did pop all my cooldowns there, so. Just get a bit dicey here, though.
Yep.
There we go.
Oh god.
I need to get closer.
Machine speakers. In the stone vault.
Ooh, a hellstone.
Fanatically loyal, no doubt.
Intruders detected. Defense protocols activated. Countermeasures on.
Do that. Do that.
It's too far away.
Please stop moving away from me. I'm gonna have to come over it.
Oh, oh shit.
But you ran out of room over the other side. So, right, Warlock, you just eat that.
Countermeasures on.
There's no way. Oh! Oh, I've not. Oh,
No, I've not survived for that.
no. Well, we know now to pop potential time warp for that boss on Mythic.
Yeah.
Seems to be a bit of a DPS check. If that big one's still alive anyway, by the time he does that second ability. Kaboom.
Right, I've got OBS set up so that I can view Twitch chat and YouTube chat in OBS. Change the title of the stream should we need to change the title of the stream if we go on to do some other content in WoW. Just keep it relevant. Yes. But it's like bit by bit every day. Well, not every day, but bit by bit, just learning how to do this a bit more.
A golem fused with Scarden corruption? Fascinating.
Nope. There's people with the shoes. Fucking hell. I'll run back.
If they pull without you, I'm gonna let them die. You little bastard. Okay. Well, that's a big absorb shield. I wonder if he gets that from us not killing those little things.
Yeah, 100%. DPS need to be killing them. It's just a normal dungeon. You don't need to do tactics, apparently.
Well, the DPS in here are fucking wank, to be honest.
Yeah.
Look for a service tunnel nearby.
While streaming
Should be using
to
a main
Twitch
cart back to
and
central
YouTube,
processing.
the stream health on both streams is classed as excellent. And it's suggesting we stream at a lower bitrate because we're streaming well, not too high, but we're streaming a bitrate that we don't need to be. Isn't that nice? I have always wondered what the feasibility of streaming to both platforms would be, but harmless.
There he is. Look at him. Beyond saving. That seems like poetic justice, but let's finish this.
Not too much up here, DPS won't be able to kill him in time.
I'll be fine. Popping my cooldown.
With stream as well, what do you want to go by name wise? Should we just do it Lewis Jason, or should we do it something else? If you've got a preference on it.
I don't have a preference now.
Alright. Because I'll set up a stream schedule because I can do Monday night, Wednesday night, Friday nights from 8 o'clock onwards. So whether that's a me stream or joint stream. And then you can add to a schedule if you want to create yourself a schedule. Up to you. Let's go ahead and vote.
That was
DPS.
fucking awful. Holy shit.
Yeah, because what I'm doing as well with some of our streams, I'm exporting from Twitch to put them up as YouTube videos. I won't need to do that now. YouTube will just automatically add our live stream to it, hopefully. But to build up that like
Thank the
back
Titans you are
catalogue.
here. The Storm Perch has been breached, and the Storm Riders corrupted.
And then over time, our tags, our actual streams, the titles for them, how we build our description out, what we tell people we're doing or plan on doing, will just come when it comes.
What is that orb? While you go to
As you said before,
I will distract them here.
there is no pressure on making it work.
The title, the glory. It should have been mine, Beryl
I did
Bryn.
watch Preach this morning talk about how he approaches casting.
Have to be Stormward.
And he said that he did loads of research on wrestling and how the casters for wrestling and like UFC, like how they talk, when a knockout's about to happen, how do they pace it. Just thought it was really interesting because he'll marry that to boss kills. I didn't think about it before then, how like you need to talk utter nonsense. Well, not nonsense, but you need to improvise for so long, and then when that moment comes where they're about to kill a boss for the first time, you need to be pretty clear and concise on what you're saying, and it not just come across as a fucking bunch of fluster. And that there's some people that they and there's some people that they stream with, do the casting couches with, where like they find it like really nerve-wracking to do like the boss kills and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I imagine they probably are.
You should be able to resonate, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
It's too far away.
I should be fine.
You're all melee and you fucking suck.
I've got health stones and shit still from the warlock.
Nice.
Jesus.
I need my alchemist to send some mana and health potions over, just so I've got them. But if we're doing, like, I was thinking about it last night. Like, Amy was wanting to watch something, and I'm just like, just thinking about stream. Like, if I go off and do a Mythic 2, 4, whatever, and come across like a really good tank, then to chat to him and be a little bit more vocal than maybe you would normally do, and then see, just be like, hey, do you want to just jump in the community so that we can do future keys? Just something so subtle like that will help us just build it up. You keen to do that as well?
Ooh, a fucking trinket. Look.
Did you hear that?
Oh. Yeah, I did hear it. I said yeah.
Oh right, sorry, it didn't
Crazy people.
didn't come across.
I do not like that it feels darker and colder as we go down. What is that? What did Gorin bring here? The lift is out. If we want to, we have
Halfway.
to take it down.
DPS ain't that good.
If you see a big AoE on the floor, don't run out of it.
I don't know.
After this dungeon, I'm just gonna grab the camera and just hit it against the wall.
Oh, does it keep going off?
Yeah.
No, I don't even have it up on stream. I'll fix that after Sunday.
This might be a bit of a... No, we got it.
Oh my god. No, I didn't. Lovely. Yeah, this boss fight is painful. I don't have to do anything. There you go. Touch of effort. 2 million. I got that ring. Do you want to kill it again with these guys? They're pretty cool.
See if they want it. See if they want it.
But like, if we were being really sweaty streamers, we'd just post it to like every chat of every party we were in. But I really can't be bothered doing that. That's not
We'd have PB at the end of every character's name.
And not happening. We need to be individual whilst having a welcoming community that want to be there. I need a hero talent.
The expedition built the priory as a place to contemplate.
Yeah,
God's
my
trees
new hero
and
talent's
die.
pretty fucking sick. I'll be fine without you for a minute. I've got my
But of late, the devotees have become
Yeah,
secretive.
but the other guys,
hostile.
fuck nuggets don't. And there's a lot of shooting, so there's a lot of
The
bleed
gods
damage on
sought to
this.
kill you. Captain Dale Cry is protecting something. Each of his
Yeah, he's got
lieutenants
there's
his
mortal
tactics.
strike, by the way, so just
Draw them away and defeat them.
save some cooldowns.
to know when he's gonna fucking shield slam me.
Just get a plater.
No, I've got it.
Oh, you do have it.
No. Sorry, I just knew it was coming then.
Honestly, like the add-on plater for tanks is night and day.
Yeah,
All of
sounds
the enemy bars that you see are just so they stack like really neat, so you can see everything. You can clearly see who you've got aggro on, how much. It's this, and then also
Ooh. Right, where should she come in?
Shane,
Left or
man,
right?
Your training grounds
Right.
foul to the intruders.
Yep, right. When you see him in that bubble, put down Ring of Peace if you've got it, just to knock him out of it.
Alright. Oh, what the fuck was that?
Fucking shit, Wang. With a fucking can. Fucking piece of shit, man. Sort your fucking life out. Holy hell. Oh, it might not work after that. I'm hiding up here.
I'm out of range.
You stood in the fire.
This one's nasty. I think the first time we do mythic, I think the first time we do mythic of this, I want to clear all the loose units.
Every single fucking one of them.
Oh god, yeah. This one does the stun. I think we've got the worst ones out of the way. Going right is much better, it seems. Because you get the AoE one, you get the stun one. And I think he's got like a healer now of some sort, but
I see.
fucking easy.
They seek to ambush me without my lieutenants.
Well, we'll see. I'm not quite sure how
Ours
it
is
works
the
still.
true path for the
Oh no,
Iraqi.
another fire one. That's fine. Fine with that.
So horrible.
By fang and claw.
I don't know. On Mythic, that would be horrible. He applies like a horrible like aim shot to two people, and it just chunked me. It would have killed me and that paladin if I wasn't quick enough.
Move out of the way.
AoE, you can just move out of it. Huh?
I show in glory.
Are these still strikes, lackeys? Guards! Guards!
I was gonna fix the camera, wasn't I? I didn't.
No. Her usefulness to the Empire has passed. Soon, the true faithful will arise, and the Arathi will be mighty.
Oh, get out of the fucking thing.
Who's that running away? With 2 mobs, I'm not chasing it.
They've served their purpose. Baron, demonstrate your worth.
Those who oppose the Emperor will fall at our feet. By the Emperor's will! Glory guides my hammer! Flame's wrath heal me. Shielded by Flame's light. Glory guides my hammer! My first defeat.
Murpray has warped the Priory from a place of contemplation to an uprising. Why? She has always preached of the strength of the Emperor's will, but to turn against us is madness.
Belladar is the crucible. It burns away weakness. Its blinding light reveals the strength we Arathi lack. With an army of the Risen, the Arathi will defeat the Nerubians, conquer Khazalgar, and subjugate the world!
No, such heresy. They defile the sacred flame by animating the dead. They are no better than the Kobis.
Gotta kill the one who was doing the fucking aura.
No Arathi leaves the Emperor's service, even in death.
Pull right, so they come up with
Flame will
a boss. I
cleanse
know
your
that.
transgressions.
Go there.
Yeah.
Burn by sacred flame! My blaze be purified! Flames take you! Brothers and sisters, hearken to the flame! My blaze be purified! Burn by sacred flame! The Empire will see you burn!
It is done. These zealots no longer steer our faith towards destruction.
I know. Do you have your camera on, or have you given up?
No, it's not working now. I'll give it a
That's
good slap. Let me just unplug it and put it back in. It's not.
So here we are. High Speaker Eirich. Or is it just Eirich now? He's fled from the Hall of Awakening into the Stone Vault. He's probably running like a frightened mouse. Wee sleek, cowering, timorous beastie.
Fuck. Pulled another grip. I'm just gonna pop my core down.
What's this? Is that Golem fused with something else? Titanic earthen technology enhanced with magical augments. Brilliant.
Activating defense protocols. Seismic protocol activated. Offensive measures engaged. Dominant intruder identified. Offensive
Sure how he died.
seismic protocol activated. Offensive measures engaged. Seismic protocol. All systems shutting down.
Looks like the main door is locked. Either one of these paths should lead us to an access console.
Oh, there. There.
It's alright.
Damn it.
Hold!
I got spell locked. Do the fucking same to these cunts here.
A golem fused with Scarden corruption? Fascinating. Killing them, look at that.
So he always gets an absorb, but that's the bare minimum.
Look for a
Him
service
pulling
tunnel
from like
nearby.
the
You
piles.
should be able to take a minecart back to central processing.
Interested? Over on corner.
Oh my days.
Machine speakers in the stone vault. Fanatically loyal, no doubt.
Intruders detected. Defense protocols activated. Countermeasures on.
Incinerate!
Build it up.
Oh god. People are gonna die. Like that.
Ignite! So much left unfilled.
I'm going to need some personal time.
Look for another minecart. If it's here, we might as well use it, unless you'd rather walk.
I need to get closer.
Okay, he's going to charge that way. He's going to charge that way.
There he is. Look at him. Beyond saving. That seems like poetic justice, but... let's finish this.
Huge. Fucking hell, these are just even casting hurts. Any interrupts would be nice. From LOSing.
Yeah, I got one off.
I think maybe it's the totems that knock you up. They're not too bad to kill, granted people focus them. I think this is where when we all get the purple ring around us, needs to go to the edge of the room.
Yeah.
Get the practice on. Don't go into the black hole because you do get one shot. John tested it the other day.
Oh, brilliant. Trinkets, 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 trinkets.
That's crazy.
Alright, I'm gonna go get some Coca-Cola after this though, because parched.
I'm gonna put a massive, well, I'm gonna stick a massive pork loin joint in the fucking oven.
Thank the
That should
Titans
do
who are
me
here.
a couple of
The stone
days.
perch has been
Lovely.
breached and the
It's
Stone
great when
Rider
it's just one
corrupted.
person, mate. Honestly, the food lasts for a while.
Oh no, I bet. You can buy exactly what you want to eat as well. I'd
Oh,
love
yeah.
to do that. Even if it means having to go and just get it that day, or for 2 days worth of fresh food would be brilliant.
While
It's
you
just not
go to
fucking
the
feasible at the
roofs,
minute.
I will distract them here. We can
Not
link
till I get
up
Mum's
later.
car anyway. Because then I can go out during the day.
What you doing with the old one?
Keeping it. Amy still needs to get to work, but it gives... And Mum's just going to be leaving it on the driveway anyway, so... We'll cover the insurance, and we'll drive it as a second car. Should I need to do anything during the day, I can do it now. At the minute, can't do fuck all. Or we borrow the car. Well, no, I have the car, and then I have to take them in the morning, and then I have to pick them up in the afternoon. And we live in St. Budo now, so it's just not feasible. I said to John the other day as well, like, no mention of work on stream, or where we work, for anybody.
Well, I wouldn't mind mentioning it, just in case I can get some fucking leads sent. Oh my god.
I guess for you, but for me at the minute it's a bit naughty. But I legitimately do not have anything on.
Just put web developer. Someone asks for, just say government. Because technically speaking, you work for the government. You're allowed to say that.
Yeah.
Right, I need to not die.
Just be normal and jump down.
Fucking done it.
Oh, I just
These
fucking
ones don't
hard
seem to
cast
take
that.
any damage.
Well,
Should be quite big. Big stunner. Oh, I just leveled.
So did I.
Maximum fury is increased. More fury.
Come then, face me. I command this rookery by right. The might of my hammer. My valor, your ruin.
This one isn't very difficult at all, to be honest, is it?
No. Like, that hurts if you get right to him. That hurts if he lands on you. But
Oh, yeah.
Share in my gift.
people should be able to move out very quickly.
I deserve this power.
Oh, that's a fucking 200 item level increase. Put it on, boys.
Eesh.
I do not like that it feels darker and cold. What is that? What did Gorin bring here? The lift is... We have to take it down.
It's too far away.
Don't you wanna turn up? Bring it to turn up.
Destroy.
Right, I need to get out. Grab some drinkies. We shall do.
Nelly deals for a friend of the Grummels. Like you. Farewell, friend of the Grummels.
Good round because they never actually talk about delves because you immediately start talking about the
actually,
thing.
I've really bad news, Matt.
Yeah.
Blizzard have they finally
Shot me?
they've went woke. They've ruined it. This is the end.
They went woke with Dragonflight?
No, no. They have hot fixed the breath timer to be longer in underwater delves, Matt, as of an hour ago.
That was...
Can't believe this.
That was warranted.
I'm furious.
That was warranted.
What was that?
No, man, we need something. No, they have hot fixed the breath timer to be longer in underwater delves, Matt, as of an hour ago.
That was...
Can't believe this.
That was warranted.
I'm furious.
That was warranted.
No, man, we need something to be angry about.
No, that's warranted.
Okay, gotcha. I haven't done an underwater one yet.
I think it was fine, but there's like I could definitely see you're trying to fight a load of mobs, and then you're forced to reposition to a bubble. In the same way, they also hotfixed out the spore bits.
Do you hear that, Jay?
Things that chase you and explode you, they now die.
Yes.
Whereas they didn't die before. And I immediately thought, we actually talked about this in our guild Discord, me and Leon. We're talking about being like, well, you know, he said something like in Shadowlands this would be changed in, you know, the next major patch. And I was like, no, in Shadowlands, this wouldn't have been changed. And we would have gotten a blue post titled, you know, inherent friction in game mechanic design, because they were a massive pain in the ass. The spore bits, for those who haven't done it, they basically are these like invincible, like not respawning mobs that like follow you around and move around the area. And once you hit their radius, their health starts to drain, and they do a swirly. When they hit 0, they explode and deal damage, plenty of damage, knock back, and everything else. And they would respawn. So if you're fighting a boss and there's 3 spore bits orbiting around,
oh cool,
you just had chasing things trying to kill you, and they would like throw you off the edge and everything to your death, or to have to climb back up and stuff like that. So they noticed people were not liking that, and we didn't like it on beta, obviously.
Yeah.
But they noticed people were liking it live and went, just fix it, just change it, just hotfix that out. Just fix it.
Click.
Yeah.
Delete. Push.
Yeah, so
nothing can go wrong.
Exactly. So this is another version of that where I felt myself dying. Not dying, sorry. I felt myself, no, I did that once. The only time I've died in a delve in live so far was because I didn't realize I was out of breath. And you know why?
Yeah.
Because for the most of beta I was playing a druid and just was travel forming, so I never had to breathe. So the first time I had to breathe, I actually noticed I died. I was like, oh shit, what the hell? So that'll be doubled from 45 seconds to 80 seconds, which will be way happier for those like boss fights. Because obviously the point is you have to breathe during the boss fights. That's part of the mechanics. But a little bit more actual time between is very, very nice. Very nice. So delves in general, then, I am very impressed with them. I'm very impressed with the variety in them because I played quite a lot of them on beta, and even I'm seeing variants I never saw in beta, which is just literally I didn't see them because I skipped it a day or whatever, because they change every day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I just assumed those were weekly.
No, they change every day. They rotate variants, and there's some of them of 3, some of them of 4, and I think it is generally excellent. Generally excellent. I think it's fantastic because it'll obviously eventually we'll get a little bit bored of them. And there's ones that are really easy and some that are complete nightmares. I was impressed with the early Warfronts and Islands too. Yeah, I'm saying from a different perspective. I'm saying I'm impressed with them because I thought they were dog shit on beta for the longest time. And then I thought they were getting better. And I was like, okay, I can see what they're going with this. Maybe they won't be so bad. And when I'm doing them on live, I'm like, oh no, the general balance and mob placement changes they made in the last couple of months on beta. The last like 2 months on beta. The last month or so maybe I did a lot of them actually.
Yeah.
And then the new variants they added, excellent. Like there's one today, today for you at least, in the Skittering Breach. So I thought the Skittering Breach is really quick. I did it yesterday in like 4 minutes. Let's go back in and blast it because it's really like short. Yeah. Someone like
God, you're gaming.
Yeah, and I was okay. I can blast this because I can just run in, pull everything, and pop Abomination, and they'll die. But it was the Shadow Realm version where I had to destroy Shadow Totems, but it wasn't run up and kill the totem. No, I had an extra action button ability that was a light-driven burst that shot me forward and destroyed any shadows on the way, and it recharged really fast every like second and a half or so. So I just going dashing around. And I had to dash in a circle around the shadow totems to break their invincible shield and then be able to attack them. So I was dashing around, hitting mobs, trying to bring mobs with me, trying to not get mobs to despawn or to like tag one and have it cast at me from halfway across the instance. But there are also these like light tornadoes that knock you up, so and give you slow fall. So you can light dash into them. It refills one of your light dashes, and then you have a slow fall. So if you want to, I'm not saying because there's totems along the way you have to kill, but if you wanted to go to the end of the thing, you hit a light tornado and then just dash the whole way to the end, and it's like little fun like mechanics like that I think are really good to play with. Literally just, oh, today I get the light dash one. Now I will say there's a problem with that one, which is you're in the Shadow Realm and your screen's dimmed, you can't see shit. Not in a darkness obscures your vision in like the Dark Flame Cleft, because that's a game mechanic. This is just we've applied a purple visual effect that hurts your eyes. So a little bit of that, but generally speaking, I think the delves are really good. Like, way better than I thought they would be. We'll see how they scale difficulty-wise.
So I'm interested, because if they successfully get that difficulty, then I think we're in a really good spot.
Yeah, people are going to immediately go, well, these seem boring at the start, because as soon as you have any semblance of gear, you just walk through them and destroy everything. You don't really mess with the bosses. Like, bosses don't really have time to do mechanics or anything. But the boss mechanics all actually feel quite nice, especially in how you can individually sort them, because the Skittering Breach I did yesterday was the one with the big void boss at the end, and there's spiders that channel on him, and they make him, I think it's either damage reduction or immunity, I can't remember which, but while they're channeling on him, they have a big shield. They have like fuck all health but a massive shield. So I'm a DK, I grip them, interrupts their like channel, pulls them to me, I hit them, they die, problem solved. And it's that little bit of, oh, I have a displacement, I can solve this without having to brute force it. But then also shield, which means if you're a who's the other one? Warrior and Evoker. Yeah. If you're a warrior and Evoker, you can just shatter and throw, or an Evoker can unravel the shield and do a bunch of damage. You're like, oh, look at that! You've done a bit of. You can stand in that channel. So, I just assumed it was a targeted channel. I didn't know you could stand in it to stop it. That's also crazy. things like that. And it's-
Levels of cooking are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of these like really fun little things going on that I think is, for a lot of people who don't want to play World of Warcraft and Dungeons, like because of the time constraint, or like the kind of everything like that, Delves will be great. And I don't think many of us even see that until people have played the game for a couple months ago. Oh wait, I get to just play the game anytime I want, and like have game mechanics.
In
Class.
time, will Delves be like islands, pull the instance, and AoE it down?
So
Depends on how those Delve mechanics are tuned.
it depends on mostly it
And the
depends
bots,
on
but-
if you can do it,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of disruptive mechanics by design. There's a lot of disruptive mechanics. You can kind of do that now, but the goal is that once you have the gear to do that at 8, that's fine. That's fine. Then you can do the optional harder ones. So
Definitely, I'm keen to see what Zakvir.
Zakvir, yes.
Zakvir the 13th.
Yep.
Yeah. Keen
Yeah.
to see what that is.
So, guys, you guys are geniuses and you know everything. This has been known. You guys are fucking smart in this chat. And guys, I need some help. I have been racking my brain for the last couple weeks trying to figure out the Race to World first comp. And I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know what's good. I don't know what's bad. And I need the help of my chat. Okay? I need you all to band together, and you guys have to help me make the absolute best raid comp that we can use in this raid. Okay, so this sheet that we're looking at already is just a convenient place that has all of the current like classes. Sorry, it's kind of bright. I'll make it smaller so you don't get blinded. I don't want to go dark mode because dark mode makes all of the classes look stupid, and I would rather you guys be a little blinded and then just do this. Anyway, so the reason I've ever used this sheet is it is it's just showing what required raid buffs in your raid have progressed throughout the expansion. So if you care, this is how many required raid spots were needed for raid buffs in BFA, and then it added 1 in Shadowlands, and then it added 5 in Dragonflight, and the War Within has removed 1 required raid spot by just removing Red Ore basically, and making it not just enhanced but all of Shaman that bring the buff. All right, so what you guys are gonna do is we're gonna go all the way over here to the right. Actually, we're probably gonna go down, and you guys are going to help me make a raid comp, starting from, and let me copy and paste this thing up here. I don't really know what's the best way to do this when you guys want to add something, because it doesn't necessarily need to be a healers first or tanks first, right? Because a decision you make in DPS may be right. Like if you pick a Havoc DH, for example, then maybe you don't need a Vengeance, right? Because you already have the Havoc buff. So this can go in any order you guys want. You can add healers at any point. You can add tanks at any point. I'm just going to see where you guys are landing in the chat, and I'm going to try to come to a consensus off. We're not doing this as a meme, by the way. I want you guys to actually try. We're going to see how right you get. And also, we will be updating this list going into Heroic Week and leaving Heroic Week. So we will do 2 updates to this based on changes that happen and if any changes happen that you think might alter it. We'll let you guys change it if you want. But will you tell us how right we get? Well, you're going to see how right we get, right? Because right after you do the last update, the next day is going to happen and we're going to be in whatever comp you think. So, let me check Dorky's tank tier list before we start. Ooh, that might be a mistake, right? Because, like, think, how high on the totem pole do you think tanks are as far as bringing the best tank versus bringing a raid buff that lets you not bring the worst DPS, right? Maybe a lot of you guys are like, they're at the bottom of the totem pole. You just play whatever raid buffs we need. That's not always true. Sometimes tanks are actually so good that you bring them even though you already have those buffs, right? Okay, so chat, where would you guys like to start? There's a couple of easy ones, right? There's some raid buffs that you need just to get it out of the way that can only be 1 roll, for example, right? So, chat, where would you guys like to start? No, we're not 4 mages, 4 augs. We are doing literally 1 spec in class at a time, all right? So 1 mage. I'm seeing a lot of mage, arcane mage. Okay, you guys want 1 arcane mage. Okay, so we'll put that. I usually like having melee near the top of the DPS and range at the bottom, so I'll just go ahead and put arcane mage here. So chat, are you guys happy with starting with what? Actually, do we even need to put the spec? I feel like it doesn't matter, because if it's a different spec, they can swap specs. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's just say mage, right? So you guys want a mage. Okay, so you guys want a mage. Is there another class that you guys want before we go on? It can be healer, tank, anything. I'm trying to judge. When it gets harder to figure out, I will do polls. Seeing a lot of locks, seeing a lot of warlocks. Okay, so you guys want 1 warlock to start out. 2 warlocks? You want to do 2 warlocks even after you have the 1 raid buff before you even see how the rest of your comp works out? That's not the right way to problem solve, right? I'll help you out a little bit there. That's wrong. You don't want to do that. Even if you thought you would run 4 mages, 4 rogues, 4 druids, whatever, like, you wouldn't do that until you're doing the most important thing every time, right? All right, so let's see where chat is going here. Okay, so I see a lot of people already advocating for like shaman and druid, but are you guys really confident right now in this list you know which spec of shaman is going to be your raid buff, which spec of druid is going to be before you even see like the process of elimination, kind of? That'd be crazy. I wouldn't know if you're doing this realistically. Okay, I'm seeing a lot. Okay, so you guys are really undecided even. Can I help you guys out a little bit? There's not that many more super obvious ones, but there are a couple, and I feel like you guys are kind of all over the place right now. Okay, it's obviously Hunter, right? Hunter can only be DPS. You need a Hunter, right? So put a Hunter in there. All right. Same with Rogue. Exactly right. All right, so you got a Rogue. Okay, Max, please zoom in on sheet. Okay, a little bit of zoom in right there. Oh shit, can I zoom this right without it? Oh no, let's do one more thing out. That's right where it was. All good, we're keeping it there. If melee is on top, no survival confirmed, Hunter can be any of the specs, it doesn't matter. 2 of the 3 of them are ranged, we'll put it in the range spot. Seeing Shadow Priest, Aug, you guys are saying Aug Evoker, okay. Is chat happy with Aug? Yes or no? You guys happy to add 1 Aug? 2 Augs. Interesting. You guys want to add 2 Augs before you see the rest of the comp rather than the one you need for... Well, I guess, do you even really need an Aug for raid buff? Let's see. Their raid buff has asked 2 Augs. 2 Augs. All right, I'm polling it. Sorry, you guys can't. I'm not asking you whether you want 2 Augs at the end of the raid comp or not. I'm asking how many you want right now before we figure out the rest of the raid comp. All right, you have 2 responses. If there's a poll in chat, you guys want 1 or 2 right now? All right, just 1. All right. Do I need to specify Aug? Because, I mean, Evoker's the same. They can literally just spec Devastation if Aug was bad or something. We're not specializing spec for anything else. Okay, what's next, guys? We haven't added any healers and tanks yet. Are there any more obvious DPS buffs? Right, so Warrior could be a DPS or a tank. DH could be a DPS or a tank. Monk could be a DPS or a tank or a healer, right? Oh, interesting. Seeing DPS Monk, DPS Druid, Blood DK. Seeing a lot of Blood DK. A lot of Warrior DPS. Warrior. Okay, chat is saying Warrior DPS and DH DPS. Okay, so you're immediately saying most likely no Prot Warrior, no Vengeance DH then. Is that correct, chat? I mean, this is kind of a historical... This has historically been accurate, so it's not the worst guess. All right, so now we have a decent amount of the raid buffs already done. Let's actually just remove raid buffs that we already have, right? Yeah, that's easy. So let's just say raid buffs we don't have. That'd probably be an easy way to put that. Okay, so we can remove DH, Rogue, Warrior, Hunter, Evoker, Warlock, Mage. Even though Evokers are a little different, but... All right, what's next, chat? What is next? Where's the next spot? So let's make sure we get all of our raid buffs first before we add in some other stuff. So we gotta get one of these. People are saying DPS Monk. Okay. Holy Paladin. I'm seeing a lot of Holy Paladin. Chat, are you guys happy with Holy Paladin? Seeing a lot of people happy with Holy Paladin. Okay. All right, Holy Paladin's in. What next? Seeing a lot of Resto Shaman. Seeing a lot of Blood DK. Okay. I'm seeing by far the most Blood DK. Okay, so let's add Blood DK. It's weird that DK is like a... I have DK as a raid buff. I mean, it's like pretty true. Like, are you gonna need grips on... It's weird. If you're gonna need grips on Ansurek... Okay, I have a question, chat. If you need grips on Ansurek, what phase is it in? It's in P2. Okay, describe P2 to me. Is the raid together? Are they separate? It's a split raid P2. Okay, so I mean, if you're saying you need grips, which is Blood DK's raid buff, aren't you saying you need 2 grips? Talk about need here. Do you guys think you don't need grips, you just think Blood DK is really good? Blood DK is just really good, you don't need 2 grips, you just want... Okay. I mean, we can come back to this later. You don't have to say the second DK is what you choose now. It can be something you add after you have the rest of the raid buffs. I'm asking the questions you guys should be asking yourself. You could also ask the same question, right? If P2 is really hard on the last boss, which is what you make your comp for, would you maybe want 2 Demon Hunters, right? Like 2 Chaos Brands? Or is that way less important now that they've nerfed Chaos Brand? You know, stuff like that, like how good is Havoc? Interesting stuff. Okay, so what is the next decision you all make? We already have Paladin. We need to find a way to get the Monk buff. How do you guys feeling about the Monk buff right now? Are you guys feeling Brew? Are you feeling DPS Monk? It kind of locks in your tank comp forever if you hit Brew right now. Actually, I'm seeing a lot of people say Disc Priest. Oh, Mistweaver. Okay, let's figure this out. We got to do a poll. We got to do a poll. So for now, we're adding Priest. So I'll just add the 3 Priest specs. Where do you guys think, how do you get your fort buff? Okay, 90% are saying Disc. Okay, so we're adding Disc. Historically, that's been true. When was the last tier you didn't run 1 Healer Priest and 1 Holy Paladin? I want to look that up later. I think it's been a very, very, very long time. Okay, so we need a few more things, guys. We have a Priest buff now. It's about to get really interesting, by the way. And you guys are about to... We've gone through most of the somewhat easy stuff, I guess. Blood Decay is an interesting choice that you chose to immediately throw that as tank, for sure. That's definitely the craziest thing you guys have done so far. From like a raid comp maker POV, instantly being that committed to a tank is fucking psycho, but you guys are really happy with it, so we'll keep it there. See... We don't miss. I fucking respect that. Shaman. All right, so Shaman is next, guys. Where's the Shaman? Type what spec of Shaman you want. Keep in mind, this is the first, like, required raid spec you need. So you guys are that sold on Resto. So even in a scenario where Ellie and Enhance could be good and could be played, in which you wouldn't need the buff, you're saying you think Resto Shaman, you want to lock in your 3rd healer, and you are sure that the healing comp for this tier includes these 3 specs. Again, that's crazy. But let's fucking send it. You guys don't miss. You get it right. Poll it. I mean, okay, I'll pull it. All right, again, process of elimination, right? Like, you have to get your Shaman buff somewhere. What's the best Shaman buff, do you think? I'll delete this just until you guys finish voting on it. Okay, pretty close between Resto and Enhance from chat. Ooh, Enhance is actually pulling ahead now, which may mean you guys want one of each, right? But, again, you wouldn't do that now. That's not how you would do this. Votes over soon. It's really fucking close. Resto Shaman, Resto Stam buff, though. Yeah, I want to bring that up, just in case you guys didn't know this. So, Resto Shamans kind of have, like, an extra raid buff. They have a really easy talent point to get called Ancestral Vigor, and it gives anyone who's gotten hit by Riptide, I think Healing Wave, Healing Surge, and Chain Heal, a 10% health increase. And with at least the Totemic hero talent, you have almost 100% uptime on everyone in the raid in that, and that's twice as good as Power Word Fortitude. So Resto Shaman has won by 1 vote. We must respect the vote. This is the word of the people. We will have more raid spots to add things later, but we have now gotten the Shaman raid buff. Okay, we have 2 more, guys. We'll start with Druid. All right, guys. What Druid spec is the one where we are going to get our Mark of the Wild? Feral Guardian, Resto Druid, or Moonkitten. Keep in mind, we will update this if any tuning happens, but this is just for right now. Interesting. The vast majority of people think it's fucking Guardian Druid. That's insane. Holy shit. Okay, that's fucking crazy. When was the last time you ran a Guardian Druid in raid? Ideally, like what tier? Has it been was it Legion? No, I think it was well, so it was the end of WoD, it was Nighthold, it was Tomb of Sargeras. Has it been since then? Aberrus? No, we didn't play it in Aberrus. Wasn't there one time in BFA? You didn't play it in Uldir, you didn't play it in Battle of Dazar'alor, you didn't play it in Eternal Palace, and you didn't play it in Nightloth, no. Okay, all right, chat wants to lock up the tank comp and put Guardian Druid in there. All right. Holy shit. That is a first time. There was a first time last year, though. Feral Druid was brought in Amir Drasil. Feral Druid was brought in Amir Drasil, and that was the first time, and people would have called you crazy for saying that before this year, but that was the first time Feral Druid was used in the Raced World first in 10 years last year. So it can always happen. All right, chat's on a fucking spicy one. Let's go. Fucking Guardian, baby. All right, we need a Monk buff, chat, which at this point, you have now, because you made the Guardian selection, you can no longer say Brewmaster, so you have to choose between Mistweaver and Windwalker. Let's do a poll. Actually, I'll give you a Brewmaster option. It's basically just people saying that they actually think Guardian was wrong. It's fair. I mean, you'd have to go back on what you just said. Alright, where's your first monk you want? Damn, so it looks like Windwalker is gonna win, but it looks like a decent amount of the chat thinks that you all goofed. I mean, you guys have to come to a collective decision, man. The goof is blood, and now you guys are seeing why potentially picking a tank that early and very confidently saying Blood DK when you don't know if you need grips was interesting, because you actually could have. See, this is a nice learning exercise, because you guys are going to learn how making a comp actually works, right? You were so confident about Blood DK, but what happens if you actually think Frost DK is going to be good for the last boss? Then now you have a Blood DK for seemingly no reason, right? And you couldn't have brought a raid buff from your tank, potentially. Like, when you're asking yourself Blood versus Brewmaster, Blood versus Guardian, Guardian versus Brewmaster, are you asking yourself which tank is better? Yes, in a way, but you're kind of also asking which DPS option would be worse that we would have to bring, right? So just this is why this is a fun exercise for you guys. All right, we have Windwalker Monk as DPS. That is what you guys picked. All right, now this gets fun. All right, guys, we have a 4th healer spot, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 free DPS spots. What is the next thing you guys do? Well, a lot of Prez Evokers from chat. A lot of Prez Evoker chat enjoyers. It looks like, oh yeah, there's a ton of Prez. Okay, so Prez Evoker. Okay, so now our healer comp is locked in. It's like a rainbow comp. You're not running 2 of everything. That's really interesting. Historically, healer comps are, they do look like this, but I do find it fascinating that there are not more healer comps historically that have like a couple of healers that fill a specific role. Like famously, Holy Paladin has always been like the spot healer role. That's actually not been true in recent tuning. And then Disc Priest has been the like ramp class, and also not true recently. Like Preservation has ramp, other Resto Druids have had ramp recently, right? And then you have like 2 of whatever the strongest HPS healer is. That's like a good way to make a healer comp. It's like you need some spot healing, you need like a ramp class, and then you just want total HPS. I don't even care if it's actually pulsing AoE healing and it's never targeted, whatever. We just want max HPS, right? So I think raid buffs are the reason that these usually look this way. And maybe just things always historically being like that. But I do find it interesting. I think most healer comps probably should be 2 of best thing and then 2 of the others, but you guys chose to go the other way. I mean, that's not always how it works out. It's just like that kind of makes the most sense. You need a lock. Well, we need another lock. All right, so where do you guys want to go after this? So you guys have locked in the tank. The tank comp looks fucking crazy. I don't think this has ever happened, by the way. I don't think Blood DK Guardian has ever once happened in the history of WoW. That has never been a tank comp you play. Guys, you guys are saying 6 of something. That's not. We're picking 1 class at a time, because that's how you would actually do this. All right, I'm seeing a lot of 2nd Aug and 2nd Mage. Which one do you guys want to do first? There's kind of an obvious answer to this, because if 1 Aug is good, then if you've already said you think 1 Aug is good, then the answer is Aug, right? Because you get the exact same value up till 2. So, okay, let's add a 2nd Aug. Someone in chat said trade Guardian for Prot Paladin and Slam a Moonkin. There's a lot going on there. I have questions about that, but I'm going to ignore that you said that for now, just for the sake of everyone else in chat. Ban him. Add 4 more Augs. 2nd Mage. Is that what you guys want to do right now? Before anything else, you guys want to add 2nd Mage. All right, chat. Chat looks like they want Frost DK or 2nd Mage. Are you guys okay with both of these? Frost DK and 2nd Mage. Okay. All right, we have 3 spots left of the entire raid. What are some specs and classes that are missing? We don't have either DPS specs of Druid. We don't have a Shadow Priest. We don't have an Enhance or Ellie Shaman. We don't have, like, you know, any extra DHs or Rogues that's happened recently. What do you guys think? What are we running here? Feral and Shadow? Enhance? I'm seeing a lot of Enhance enjoyers. Enhancement. Elemental Shaman. All right, I'll let you guys vote. You guys are saying DPS Shaman a lot. I'm just going to have you pull between which one you want. Okay, Enhance is dunking. All right. Enhance it is. Let's go over some things. You only have 1 rally right now. Movement speed increases. You have 1 roar and 2 wind rush totems, plus 2 or 3 time spirals, depending on how many spatial paradoxes you want. You have a rogue that's able to bring a trophic poison, but not the attack speed reduction. You do have the ability to have the attack speed reduction by DK. One warlock could do it. It'd be kind of annoying. Don't need rally with Resto Shaman. That's not how... You don't have to choose between... Actually, they scale off each other. So if you had a Resto Shaman, it would actually make rally better. Rally becomes instantly better with Resto Shaman existing. They're not competing at all. Seeing a lot of Shadow Priest and Ret Paladin enjoyers. Seeing a lot of second Warlock enjoyers. Oh man, okay, so we gotta, let me see if I can get the second, okay, this is gonna be a hard poll to do. All right, so do you guys want second? Okay, let's try to get this right. So second lock, what else are you guys typing here? Second lock, second monk, second DK, frost, DK, third mage, waiting for another person in chat, or we can do Ret Paladin. Actually, I'll remove, well, I can't remove anything there. We'll just do this for now. We can add priest after potentially. All right, there's the poll. 1 PI is a joke. Okay, so chat is not happy about second frost DK or monk. Second lock is winning by a wide margin. Okay, second lock. We have officially one more spot left in the chat Race to World First comp. Right now, this is looking very similar to a few raids I can think. Like 2 Warlocks isn't uncommon, 2 Mages isn't uncommon, 2 Evokers is like, that's just been the case since AUG has been released. Actually, that's been the case since Season 2 of last expansion, right? Even like before they were released, you ran 2 devs. Right now, let's look at our comp. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 melee. We have 7 melee, including the healers, so not an even number. Sometimes that doesn't matter, but sometimes it does. Think on a fight like Silken Court, right? The second to last boss, you split your raid half and half. Maybe you do want an even amount. You never know. You guys have one more spot. I'm trying to see what you guys want. So let's do a poll. I'm going to just type what you guys want in the last slot. So I see a lot of Shadow Priest. Let's say third mage. Trying to read chat. Feral. Okay, I'm confused. I actually see a lot of people saying feral right now, but is the feral going to be removing guardian? Would you guys run guardian druid even if you had a feral? I assume when you say feral, it means remove guardian and you guys get another spot to pick. You know what? Let's save that till after. Let's save that till after if you guys want to. I'll give you guys a chance. If you guys can all band together, I'll give you a chance to remove or change something if you want to. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of third mage, seeing a lot of Shadow Priest. Okay, seeing second rogue for crippling poison. Okay, I'll add second rogue. See Ret Pally enjoyers. We'll add Ret Pally and second hunter. All right, polls up. Wow, Shadow Priest is dominating. That's crazy. When was the last time you played a Shadow Priest in the raid? That's another question. Shadow Priest. It's been last expansion, right? Aberrus? Did we run one in Aberrus? I don't think so. We did? Wait.
Watch the thing.
Wait, I think we do. Insane raid that you made me there. Watch the thing. Yeah, Kingfly's on Priest, you're right. All right, wow, Shadow Priest. Interesting. Only 2 PIs. You need 2 PIs. Okay, yeah, fuck it. Fuck it, chat. Let's get it. All right, so now that you guys have your chat list, this is the chat list. Is there anything you guys would like to change? What do you guys hate about this? What do you guys think? Okay, we were wrong earlier, but now we're right. Someone in chat says remove both tanks. Get rid of Guardian. Blood Decay is wrong. All right, let's just, how about this? I'll give you guys a choice. I'm gonna do a poll. The poll is, do we do, and I'll give you an option. You can vote to keep the tanks you've selected, or we can reselect tanks. You have 2 choices. I'll delete both of them, and we can just select them both again. All right, it looks like chat overwhelmingly has decided to reselect both of the tanks. Okay, interesting. Which is why I told you guys when you were... I told you, when you guys were picking tanks that early, I was warning you that that is not the correct order in which you should be doing that. You should pretty much... This is a lesson you guys can learn from this. When you're picking a comp, always pick your tanks after your melee. Picking your tanks before your melee is psychotic. It makes no sense. And you guys, not saying you were right or wrong in your choices of any of this, it's just that clearly your mind changed after you did your melee, and it's very simply because you just chose to do one before the other. You learned something today. All right, so we're starting with tanks again. What is the tank you guys would like to add? I will pull all the tanks. You can choose one, okay? What tank? I will put Brew, I'll put Blood Decay, I'll put Guardian, I'll put Vengeance, and I will put, there's like multiple other tanks, but I'm just gonna leave out Prot Paladin because I haven't seen a single person type Prot Paladin yet, so I'm just gonna put Prot Warrior instead. All right, polls out. What is the first tank you guys would like to add? Okay, I'm seeing... Wow, Brewmaster and Prot Warrior are both really, really fucking close. Okay, looks like Brewmaster is going to win pretty handily. Okay, so chat wants to add a Brewmaster. All right, now that you guys have added a Brewmaster, we will ask the question of the second tank. But before we do that, I want to ask you, do you guys want to add Brewmaster and leave it at that? Or would you like to add Brewmaster, but now that you've done that, would you want to remove Windwalker and pick another class? I'm going to do that poll right now.
You back yet?
Actually, after this poll ends, I will do that. All right, I'm seeing a lot of people type Feral, so I'm going to try to save one poll here just in case it's actually what you guys want. So you can actually say no to this, it's fine, but the question will be, what do? And the response will be, keep Brew, remove Windwalker. The second option will be do nothing. The third option will be keep Brew, replace Windwalker with Feral. And the other one will be actually the do nothing and replace Windwalker with Feral, or replace Windwalker with chat vote. You guys can say replace Windwalker with chat vote if you just want to actually vote it out instead of literally do Feral. A lot of you guys are typing Feral, and there is a need for a Druid buff right now, so I just want to potentially save a vote if that's what you guys want to do. Okay, so it seems like 60% of you are in favor of specifically removing Windwalker Monk for Feral Druid. Okay. And the good news is, you guys actually get a little bit of a pass. We don't have to say it's a Feral Druid, because any good player that's playing Feral or Moonkin in your raid can play the other one. The only thing you have to get is like a weapon and trinkets, so you can actually cover both, the same as any other spec. You can also say the same about Enhanced Shaman. So we'll just put Druid there. So in the case where the balance changes and for whatever reason you want the other spec of DPS Druid, this counts, right? Or should that count? Actually, fuck it. I'll make it harder on you guys. You want Feral. And also, could we agree that a DK player covering Frost and Unholy is not the same as a DPS player covering Enhance and Ellie? Or a Hunter player covering Survival and BM? Like, the melee to ranged swap is way fucking different than playing two specs of the same role, I think. Okay, so, chat. Now we have removed Windwalker and added Brewmaster, which again, everyone in chat at least type that you have learned the lesson. You can say this by saying amen, and that is that you are now repentant and you understand that when you're making raid comps, you always select melee before tanks. And you can use this session today as a exact example as to why you don't do that. A lot of amens. All right. Thank you. Everyone, at the very least, whether you got this right or wrong, you at least learned something today. Tanks first always. Oops, spotted the tank player. Very weird. Okay, we have one more spot. We can make some other alterations, but you guys do have to vote for your second to last tank here. So, what tank? I'll put Prop Paladin in there because I think I can remove Guardian because you guys chose to... I mean, maybe you want a Guardian. I mean, why would you choose to... Yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah, I'll just do all of them a Guardian. Bloody K, Prot Warrior, Prot Pal, Spell Warding Angle. What are the other two? The fuck am I... I'm blanking. Second Brewmaster, I suppose? Or, Vengeance. There we go. Looks like Blood DK is going to win. Prot Warrior second. So I have a question, chat. If you guys really wanted Brewmaster there, I guess you wanted it to be your buff. But if you really thought Brewmaster was that good, why wouldn't you run two of them? Right? Just for the sake of argument. I just want to hear what you think. Only need one buff. It's a waste, okay. Because Windwalker is beans everywhere else, okay. Want different utility toolkit. Okay. I wonder if I gaslit you guys earlier when I said there would be two sides in P2, and if you ever needed grips, it would be because of P. I definitely gaslit you, I think. Because, like, I mean, it is true. You would only ever need grips on Ansurek and P2, I think, right? Unless they change something. And if that's true, you would need them on both sides. They're most likely identical or very similar sides. So if you needed one on one, you need it on the other. And if you didn't need them at all, you wouldn't need any DKs, right? So it's either like on that fight, you would either bring 2 or 0, unless one of the specs was randomly overperforming and you brought it just for damage or its tankiness or something. Okay, so Blood DK. All right, chat. Take a second to review your comp. Is there anything here that gives you the heebie-jeebies? You will have a chance to update this when they do new tuning. But is this what you guys like? Is this that good shit? What do you guys not like? Get rid of one Evoker, swap Enhance for Ellie, balance better than Feral, go second Warrior, go second Warrior. All right, I don't see a lot of one thing. I think the thing I see the most of is that people are not happy with the Priest pick and people aren't happy with the second Warlock pick. So I'll just, I guess, I don't know how I do this. I'll just do 2 individual polls. So Warlock, second Warlock, or repick spec? Are you guys happy with second warlock, or do you guys want to reselect? Okay, it looks like the vast majority of you want to repick. My question is, why did you guys pick second warlock so early if you want to repick it now? Is it just that you needed to see the whole comp like form for you to see it, or we didn't? Well, I mean, you did. We didn't pull that. It was the vast majority of selection. When I picked second lock, it was being said before like almost everything after second mage. It was like instantly that. Okay, so second warlock is removed. All right, now you guys have to pick this spec. So now we are back to one warlock. What do you guys want instead of the warlock? Let's see. I'll do a poll. I just need to see what you guys type though. So I'm seeing second warrior. I'm seeing Windwalker monk. I'm seeing third mage. I'm seeing second rogue, and I'm seeing ret. Those I think are the most. Let me look at it for a few more seconds. Yeah, that's the most. Okay, cool. Sending it. 1 minute. What do you guys want? What's the new class? Ooh, it's very, very fucking close, actually. Holy shit. It is so close. I mean, to be fair, this one should be close, right? Like you're picking the 20th raid spot. I can tell you from experience, even when you are using the narrowest of margins at the very highest level, it is a very hard decision. Like, there's reasons you could bring pretty much anything. And also, a lot of you guys are going to be upset with whatever wins this poll, because no matter what, 70% of you are going to be mad because the winner is going to have right around 30%. Which is kind of the point. You have to come to a conclusion, right? All right, second rogue has barely beat out third mage, and as I'm expecting, 70% of you will be mad because the thing you chose was not 29% of what you guys picked. So, all right, second rogue. Wait, what is it? Re-poll between the top three? I mean, it won the poll. Okay, we'll redo it. I mean, why not? We have all the time in the world. I'll make sure you guys get exactly what you want. Second rogue, third mage, and second warrior won by a lot. So let's see that. Second rogue, third mage, and what was the other one? Second warrior? It wasn't Windwalker monk, and it wasn't ret. It was second warrior, I think. Yeah, okay. I'm doing it. It's up right now. Holy fuck, it's close. Oh my god, it's close. Then you're splitting the melee vote? I don't think that matters. It would make it symmetrical, right? How many melee do you have? You have one healer melee, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You would have exactly 8 melee characters. Not to say you need that, but I think having a symmetrical amount of melee makes sense. So picking melee here isn't stupid. Bro, how is it not a third mage chat? Well, I mean, if I'm gonna guess, it's because a lot of you guys are picking historically, right? This is a very historic looking raid comp. Like, this is pretty similar to what you run like all the fucking time. I think, like, if you think about it, running 3 of a spec in current raid tuning is like really hard to do. Like, when have you done that? Since there's been this many raid buffs, right? Since Dragonflight, when have you run 3 of a spec? Have you? Since you've had 15 raid buffs? Like, Rogue was fucking insane last year. Could you have run 3 on the last boss? Yeah, but like you didn't. That even goes to show like how hard it is to actually like how much better. Here's the reality. How much better a class would have to be than the next best spec in the game to confidently run 3 of them and not want a different profile is very, very hard to do. Like, for example, even in cases where there has been an objective best class in the game, it can hurt you if they have too distinctive a profile. Perfect example, Fire Mage, Eternal Palace, right? Fire Mages absolutely own an Eternal Palace, but it sucked having 4 of them for us because in P2, they would all use their Combust on the first ad, and while it did let us like kill it really fast, we didn't have enough damage for the other 2, and it would have been better to swap one of them with like a do damage all the time class like a Shadow Priest. We just didn't do that. Warrior one. All right, fuck it. 2 DPS warriors. All right, this is chat's official. I mean, this is so funny. If I keep saying what you guys want to change, you guys are just gonna keep replacing the last DPS spot because it's so obviously split between all of you. But that is pretty indicative of how actual decisions like that are made, because really the last raid spot is really fucking close. A lot of the time it comes down to like who are the players in your guild, who would be the best player you could add to your roster kind of thing. I think this is it. I mean, we could remove something, but I mean, every time we're just gonna be removing stuff, adding it back, you know. Why would you bring Windwalker or Ret Pally, chat? Okay, I actually know the answer to this. Well, I mean, I'm not saying like regardless of tuning, but like there is actually a reason you would bring both Windwalker and Ret Pally to a comp like this based on the fight. Do you guys know what it is? Why would you bring either one of those classes? It's a little different between the two of them, but it's actually the main difference is really the same. This many melee is bad for mechanics. That's objectively not true. Hasn't been true since Uldir. No, it's when it was like the beginning of Shadow. I want to say since Castle Nathria, saying like you can't bring this many melee has been objectively not true. They've made raids very melee friendly since then. They even spoke about it in an interview. Immunity. Okay, a lot of you are actually getting it right. So as opposed to a lot of classes in this raid comp, something that some classes do this, like Enhanced does this, but like both Ret Paladin and Monk have really different and also like malleable cooldowns. So Ret Paladin just has a lot of damage kind of all the time, but especially every 30 seconds. This is something that can be really good for like ad waves and P2 on Ansarek potentially. Like, do you guys remember Sylvanas Mythic? How like certain classes were really good at P2 and others were bad? Like most classes in the game could CD platforms 1 and 3. So because of that, you weren't really interesting and you weren't a good class if you could do that because everyone else was doing it. You didn't need help on 1 and 3. And if you were another class, just using them on 2 would be a waste. So like you needed a class like Unholy that had like Dark Transformation every single boss burn and every single platform. That was super value. Windwalkers had the ability to move their cooldowns around in progression to like fix what the group needed, and that changes depending on your raid group. That's something that Windwalker and Ret can both do really well. Ret doesn't do that as well as Windwalker, but Ret has like really, really strong externals. So like adding a sack from a Ret Paladin, a famously unkillably strong DPS spec, can be insanely good on a fight with really hard-hitting targeted dots or like really gibby lethal like single target things on people. Like Razageth, getting the mechanic in P1 Razageth where he had to move out. Like, dude, having extra sacks for that is so fucking insane. Bops for specific fights with physical bleeds and stuns and stuff like that is really good. So like, I'm just trying to throw some things out there as like why people are saying you would want a Ret or a Windwalker. It's totally fight dependent, but like certain classes do that way better than others. Chat is saying, or one person chat is saying, we want Holy Priest. It has OP CDs over Presevoker. Is that true, chat? Do we want... Okay, I'm pulling that. Healers. I think the only one that's up for debate is Prez. So remove Prez, repick, or keep Prez. Polls out. All right, a vast majority of people are saying keep Prez. All right, chat gets what it wants. So what's your healer comp, guys? How does your healing comp work? Remember how I before told you needed like a spot healer, you needed like a ramp healer kinda, and then you just needed like total HPS? So who's your spot healer in this comp, chat? Paladin? That's been true historically. Is it true now? Yes? All right, cool. So you guys think Paladin's your spot healer. Who's your ramp healer? This is actually a chat IQ test. Got it. Disc and Prez. Okay, so you guys got that right. So Disc and Prez both. There's different playstyles for Prez, but definitely like majorly overwhelmed by the style of ramp. So then if you don't have, so if you have 2 ramp classes, 1 spot heal, that's worked before. That's what you did in Vault of the Incarnates. That's what you did in last raid of last expansion. That's what you did in Sanctum. You ended up running, oh dude, remember Sanctum actually? Sanctum was one of the weirdest healing comps ever. It was 2 Ashen Hollow Holy Paladins and 2 Disc Priests. So your gameplay was actually balancing 4 ramps. You just had like you had like Kyrian disc ramps and Ashen Hollow soloing raid healing at different times. That was like the weirdest healing tier ever. And you guys think Shaman's your raw HPS healer? Yeah, you could look at that a few different ways, right? Because like if you actually didn't feel that Shaman was the high HPS healer, you could argue that it's there for Vigor. It's not really there for a raid buff because you guys seem pretty happy with Enhance. But it's interesting if you guys, how you feel about Disc. You've put Disc there historically, but because you added Disc before Shadow Priest, if you're actually sold on Shadow Priest, you actually maybe don't need a Disc. So because Disc and Preservation are both ramp classes, you have to ask yourself why you wouldn't run 2 Discs or 2 Preservation, right? Wouldn't you potentially run the best one of both of them twice? It's another way to look at it. I just want to ask you guys why you think you would do that. PI. You want PI, you want 2 PI. Okay, tell me why you want 2 PI. How powerful do you guys think PI is nowadays? Just make up a number. If you are PIing another class, how much percentage damage do you think you give to them over the course of a fight? Make that up. 5%? Interesting. So do you guys think 5% of a DPS's damage would swing things in regards to healer balance? as far as how much healer damage they do in between each other. The percentage damage is not relevant over the fight, it's the burst damage. Okay. The morale buff. Max, to be fair, what is the best spot healer at the moment? I would swap them for disc. I don't know the answer to that question, unfortunately. Good try, though. What does ramp healer mean? It means a healer whose power is defined by their ability, either through one or multiple cooldowns, to solo heal a ridiculous amount of damage with just their cooldown. And there's like a lot of preparation and setup that goes in. Well, there's varying amounts of setup, actually. But it's like the ability to like do crazy healing, right? Like I would say a ramp healer's healing profile, just totally making this up, is this. It's like a ramp healer looks more like this. Like this is the timeline of the fight. Their healing's like very little, massive, very little, massive, very little, maybe like a little mini ramp, big massive thing, huge fucking spike. That's like what a ramp healer kind of looks like. And then a spot healer kind of, well, it totally depends on the fight, but like it's just kind of more static. They have like a cooldown window, but it's like a little higher all the time, right? Something like that whenever they use their CDs. And then like the high HPS healer, there's been varying different versions of this, and they do have cooldowns, but they're just kind of just like, they're not up here. They're like all the time, they're like just here. And these things work well in conjunction with each other. You don't, if you had a bunch of these, it would be hard to plan around, right? Like it was in Sanctum. So you want like some of those, you want some of these, you want one or two of these. It kind of depends on the raid. I would say healer balance is usually unique enough to a specific tier where sometimes you can convince yourself to run more or less of each one of those things, but you know. Chat got the list wrong already, we 3 healing. That would be surprising. If you guys heal, you probably know this, but you are statistically much more likely to 5 heal as opposed to 3 heal in like an intro raid. 5 healing actually exists significantly more in the first raid of an expansion, and under healing exists significantly more later in the expansion. In fact, I think you can go back and look at other raids. I think like the first raid of every expansion is like majorly 5 healed actually. Usually it's like second reset when you start like 4 healing the last boss. This list is also why you have flex spots. Yeah, true. I mean, that's a really important question. So like the way that I look at our comp progression is never this. It's like maybe 17 or 18 spots are like locked the fuck in, and then spots 19 and 20 are realistically like all the way up to usually like 23, maybe 24. It's never any more than that, realistically, based on tuning. But like that's like realistically how you look at it, because like classes just do different things, like we talked about. But you guys don't get that option. You guys have to pick exactly 20 and fucking live with it. Is Enhance really better than Ellie? That's what chat thinks. Does the Hunter's Mark make that much of a difference? Yeah, I mean, Hunter's Mark is weird because it's a raid buff where you can kind of just apply, you could just quickly look on logs and just apply the extra damage they're doing to their damage to see how much they're actually benefiting you. But it's pretty good, yeah. There's a lot of common misconceptions. People are like, well, if the damage that you do in the first... So here's what the Hunter raid buff is. Hunter's Mark makes your raid do 5% more damage for the first 20% of the boss's health. So from 100 to 80%, you would do 5% more damage as a raid. But there are some bosses where the damage you do in P1 doesn't translate to the damage in like P3 or like the end of the fight, right? So like some famous fights like that are like Castle Nathri, like Denathrius or Razageth. But I think what a lot of people are missing is, I don't think that means that Hunter's Mark is bad on those fights. It's certainly possible that Hunter is ever tuned so low that even when you add basically 1% of the raid's DPS to their number, that it's still not good enough. It would have to be historically bad for that to be true. In fact, I don't think Hunter's been tuned like that in the last 10 years. That raid buff would have made them relevant on a like Sludgefist type fight forever. It's good enough, right? But even like I've heard people say Razageth. Like I think the fact that your damage in P1 does not generate any like positive difference to the enrage or like your damage in P3, but I still think it's important as fuck. Like, bro, if you had a Hunter's Mark on Razageth, could you imagine how hard P1 would have been, which, by the way, was the hardest part of the fight, without an extra 5% extra damage? The amount of pushes we missed week 1 by just barely missing it and getting the 6th wins, oh my god, it would have been fucking insane. It would have been so fucking valuable. You would have been a lunatic to not bring a Hunter to that fight, right? If that raid buff had existed then. The only boss I can think of in the past 4 to 5 to 6 years is actually the relevant boss is Denathrius. I think Denathrius is the only boss where I don't think Hunter's Mark alone would have given them a raid spot, but in that tier, Hunters were already turbo fucking OP. You ran like 3 or 4 of them, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway, but yeah. Sylvanas? Oh, you would have definitely brought him on Sylvanas. By that same logic, shouldn't Devastation's Mastery make it really good for progression? Yes, actually. If you getting out of P1 is by far the hardest thing and you have to make a P1 DPS check, think Razageth, think Blackhand, think like super important hard and rage P1s. They should, yeah. I mean, if Devastation is tuned well, then their mastery should put them ahead. It totally depends on tuning, but I mean, you could make that argument. But if like P3 is the hardest part, you can make the opposite argument. And more often, P3s are actually what's holding you back, not P1s.
Well, I would say if you're trying to form a group in general, try to get the healer first, because you're not going very far if you don't have the healer, and a good tank and a healer can carry DPS to some extent, at least up to like a pretty reasonable key level.
How do I minimize my kind of probability of getting one shot?
As you get higher in key level, I would say the defensive rotation becomes more and more important, but you also need to just not panic when your health is ping-ponging between 10% and 100%. It really is important that you're doing your normal rotation well. And the normal rotation for Blood DK is just a lot of plate spinning. Knowing how to approach pulls in a way that lets you commit as few defensive cooldowns up front as possible, while also taking not as much damage, but still establishing threat on everything and getting it grouped up.
Very special guest today, we have Kyrasis. A lot of you actually commented in the previous videos to, have him on as a kind of a guest. So you're a very popular person, Kyrasis. I think there was a Reddit post where recently they showed the people who actually achieved, I think, Mythic Plus titles in the past 7 seasons on the same character. And I think you are the only Death Knight on that list. Why don't I turn it over to you though? Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kyrasis. I'm mostly known for doing theory crafting for Blood Death Knight, but I also do high M plus on the class, and I've been playing it since BFA really. It's been high level M plus.
Cool.
Before that, I actually played Warlock from Classic to Cataclysm, but after I quit after Cataclysm and came back, I thought tanking would be a lot more interesting to both play and to theory craft instead of a DPS role.
That's a great segue, because I like to start with your love for Blood DK. It's clear to me that you spend a lot of time kind of thinking about how Blood DK's play, how it has evolved over the years. How did you come to just fall in love with a spec like that? Because tanking is a broad role, many classes, but why Blood DK specifically?
Well, when I came back to the game in Legion, again, I was really burnt out from playing during Classic and Cataclysm, because at the time I was doing higher end raiding and I was playing the game just way too much, to the point that I probably couldn't keep up that schedule nowadays. And I know I didn't want to do end game raiding when I came back, but at the very least I did like doing theory crafting from my time when I was a Warlock. So I figured, okay, well, maybe I'll just start up playing a little casually, and it would be pretty interesting to look into a tank role instead of DPS role, because it seems like there's a lot more things to take into account with tank optimization instead of damage optimization. So since I have a background in DPS, I wanted to pick a tank class that had 2 DPS specs, and I just like the concept of Death Knight, like healing back for a lot of its defensive mitigation instead of like more traditional forms of mitigation, just like reducing the damage up front.
Makes sense.
So all my friends at the time in early Legion wanted me to play Guardian Druid. I just didn't find it too interesting at the time, but that was back when it was very strong.
Right. And it's clear to me that regardless of how, I guess, the spec is in terms of whether it's meta or not, its power levels through the different patches, you aren't swayed by playing other, more meta kind of tank specs. Do you ever feel kind of like frustrated, like, oh, your toolkit is limiting the amount of high keys you can do? Do you ever feel that way, or it doesn't really bother you?
Well, there's 2 parts to that question. For one, there's definitely a difference between whether you're the meta tank or not the meta tank in Mythic Plus. Like if you're coming in and as Blood Death Knight, let's say, and BFA Season 1 or at the end of Shadowlands, like you just basically need to show up and a group forms around you, but you need to put a lot more work in if you're an off-meta tank. You have to go out of your way to play a good amount of time and to network with people to actually put a group together.
Right.
Just because you have a little bit less market value when you're not meta.
Mm.
But as for your other question as to why I stick with it, I was never really much of an alt person, and I'd really gotten into Death Knight so deeply throughout Legion and BFA that if I ever played another class, I feel like it had to put the same level of upfront time investment into it, and I just never really had the time for that.
Made sense. There's this bit that you just mentioned in your answer that I want to kind of dive deeper into. So you mentioned that, playing something that, is off meta. Sometimes I guess it comes to you taking the initiative to kind of form groups and just find people to play with. What's your kind of philosophy, your approach towards pushing high keys? Because again, you've gotten titles for so many seasons now on Blood DK. Do you have like a core group of friends you play with? How did you find people that are willing to play with you as a non-meta tank? Like, what's your approach here?
I've kind of been all over the place, really. I started off like forming groups from nothing, and then there's some seasons where I just pug title, and a lot of times when I have been playing with groups, it's been like drastically different groups. I've played with at least like 4 or 5 completely different groups over the course of the last 7 seasons, for example. But I really think when I first kind of got lured into doing high M plus in BFA, it was really just I was doing a little bit of solo queuing for fun, and then I found a healer who really liked playing with me, and all of a sudden started bringing me along to push higher and higher keys, and we started getting DPS, and every once in a while our roster would switch up, but we never really even had a full 5-man that season. But even just having like a kind of a small group of people and just filling out the rest in the group finder is still substantially better than playing solo.
That's super cool. That's good advice. So you kind of started finding, 1 or 2 key person in your kind of friend group, and it just expanded with time. And I think that's a great advice in terms of like networking. A lot of people say the same thing. Earlier in your response, though, you also mentioned kind of you're not really an alt person. You got super deep into theory crafting for Blood DK. And I remember seeing a post made by you, I think it was on Reddit. It was a kind of like a comprehensive, super long like write-up on like Blood DK, and it was almost like a Bible of sorts. And I remember there was even like slides that I think you made. I think it was in your videos. Tell us more about that. Like, you really seem to get into the weeds, and you enjoy doing so, getting into the weeds and the theory crafting behind Blood DK. How did you start? Are you a math person by nature? Like, yeah, how did you get into this entire thing?
Well, I'm very much a math person by nature, and as I told you in Legion, I wasn't even really pushing M+. I was just playing very casually. It's like working on some smaller projects, like messing around with my UI, but I was also, for the most part, just doing a lot of this theory crafting in the background on Blood Death Knight, because that's what I found enjoyable. I was playing the game a little bit, yes, but I was spending a lot of time off the game just mapping out a bunch of things, and I was just doing it for my own information to start. But I think really by the end of Legion, and especially in the BFA, I realized that there wasn't really a lot of people out there doing in-depth theory crafting work for Blood Death Knight at all. Apparently a lot of them had retired around Legion, and no one had really filled the void for that. So at the end of BFA, I started organizing all the theory crafting information I had and started putting out an advanced guide for Mythic Plus for the specialization. And since then, I branched out into like some YouTube videos as well on different topics.
That guide is by far one of the most comprehensive stuff I've seen for the spec. Just curious, like, do you have a math background by nature? Because you do get into very technical stuff in your videos, and I'm just curious, like, is it a passion for math, or were you trained in that field?
I'd say it's a passion for math. I'm an engineer, so it's not like pure mathematics, but it does use a lot of it.
That makes a lot of sense. And this is a nice segue as well, because engineers, they kind of love to solve problems, come up with unique solutions, and you have a very unique user interface that I've never seen before, honestly, and I've seen a lot of user interfaces, and my editor will kind of pull up your gameplay on screen here. So I'm just kind of curious about the rationale behind your UI. Can you kind of walk us through the logic behind your user interface?
I can give you a quick explanation. You could make a really easy argument off the bat that it's not very user-friendly at all, but I had made this thing back in Legion as a side project when I wasn't really doing any high-end content, just for fun. I was saying, okay, what happens if I try to design a minimalist UI from the ground up with just trying to keep only the important information and trying to compact things as much as possible, and that's what that center block in my UI ended up turning into. Because in short, that has all of my cooldown and resource information, and even some prioritization information as far as what I'm using. Just have my health bar front and center. A lot of the bars on the top and the bottom are related to utility abilities. The horde symbol and a bunch of stuff around there are all defensive cooldowns and consumables. Then you'll notice I have a bunch of icons on top of my health bar. And all of those icons correspond to a different ability, and depending on the color of the icon and where it is located, kind of give information on how it's prioritized relative to everything else. So you would use any pink-coded abilities before any red-coded abilities, before any yellow, all the way down to blue. And if you had two icons of the same color, you would use the leftmost ability first. And even then, it provides enough total contextual information at the same time that if I think it's worth deviating from the rotation, it's not going to clog up the information it's giving me. I can do it pretty seamlessly.
Right. I think you've given a fresh perspective on this. I think what you've done in terms of the color coding and the prioritization is something unique. I've not really heard about that approach, and I think there's a lot to be said around how WoW can be very overwhelming for new players, and sometimes maybe less is more in terms of information. So I think I personally kind of find it really inspiring. I do love to fiddle a UI, so I would love to kind of see whether I can integrate some of those concepts. It's really cool.
For full disclosure, I stole that priority scheme from my job. There was some user interface that we had that kind of used the same system, and I was like, oh, this is really neat. I wonder if I could build this in the UI.
Dude, the way you explained it, I absolutely can understand that coming from an engineer, because it was a very clever way to, I guess, compartmentalize and just structure stuff. And I really like that idea. And I'm quite sure a lot of people will be inspired to kind of take a look at this prioritization by color codes. I know I will if I'm playing a new class. So that's kind of handy for learning, I think, new specs as well. I wanted to kind of switch gears and just go back a bit more to the technicalities of a Blood DK. So I often hear about this general perception about Blood DK being a specialization for a tank that is very hard to balance, meaning, it's the highest self-sustain through, its Death Strike, and that ability itself makes it kind of hard to balance. Blood DK is either super OP or it's pretty underwhelming because Blizzard can't really balance it for a middle of the pack kind of tank. What do you think of that statement, as someone who theory crafts a lot for the spec?
I think that's true, though there's a long answer to this question. So when you're looking at a tank's survivability, it's usually made up of two traits. It's their overall mitigate. mitigation or self-sustainability, which is if they're just taking like a constant amount of damage over time, how much are they able to mitigate themselves, and specifically how much does the healer have to heal you after you take this damage? So self-healing is mitigation for all intents and purposes. And then the second quality that you're interested in when you're looking at survivability is your like general effect of health. How well can you resist dying to burst damage? Depending on the situation, it could emphasize one more than the other, but the combination of those two come together for overall tank survivability. So if you looked at something like really old school Brewmaster, it was really focused on not dying to burst damage, but it wasn't very self-sustainable at all. But Blood DK historically has been the opposite of that. It's generally been one of the most self-sustainable tanks, perhaps the most self-sustainable in most patches, but it's probably the most vulnerable to burst damage. And because it's balanced like that, the only way you really kill a Blood Death Knight most of the time is just by killing it instantly.
Right.
So if the content is not capable of doing that, and High Mythic Plus always will be capable of doing that, but it becomes a much bigger problem in something like Raid, where it has a content.
Mic's muted. My mic is muted. I was just in a work meeting. But just setting up a bunch of stream element stuff, so I'm focusing. Straightforward. Geology.
Instant difficulty, they kind of need to balance it around people going in with lower gear levels, but their gear level scales up over time. And I think part of it too is just their philosophy and how they're going about tuning raid bosses nowadays, but they really generally don't challenge the tank much, and that sort of model is problematic.
Right.
Now, if you want to know why their mitigation becomes such a big issue, it's really just because of Deathstrike. Everything revolves around Deathstrike for Blood Death Knight. If you looked at a normal, like, defensive mechanic for tanks, let's just talk about armor. Like, the numbers here don't particularly matter. I'm going to make some of these up, but let's say you have 100 health, and if you have 1,000 armor, it gives you 50% physical damage reduction. By putting on that armor, that makes it so you need to take 200 physical damage to die instead of 100 physical damage to die. Now, if you get 200, or sorry, if you double the amount of armor that you have, it's not just going to make you immune to physical damage. It's going to raise that physical damage reduction from 50% to 66%, and you're going to need to take 300 physical damage in order to die, which relatively is only a 50% increase instead of a 100% increase now. So it kind of like naturally diminishes in effectiveness the more armor you get.
But no, Anna, hopefully you can hear me now.
How Deathstrike works.
You can hear me a little bit over
If you have
Chrome.
Deathstrike on a character, it's effectively healing a certain percentage of the incoming damage you have, in kind of a similar way that armor is reducing a certain percentage of the incoming damage that you're taking. But that value is multiplied in effectiveness by how much haste you have, because if you have twice as much Deathstrike, you'll have twice as much healing. And it's also multiplied in effectiveness by how much mastery you have, which for us converts a certain percentage of the max heal into a shield, and how much versatility you have, which is just straight up buffing the heal. So all of these amplification effects, in addition to some miscellaneous ones, kind of snowball together, and with no diminishing returns at all, it just increases the amount of healing Deathstrike does at an increasing rate. And it very easily gets to the point, especially at the end of expansions, but really throughout all of Dragonflight, where you're capable of healing back all of the damage that you are taking.
That's enlightening. I love the way you explained it, and again, I think it's you being able to break down complicated stuff in a simple layman format. I've never really kind of understood the logic until you explained it. The way it doesn't scale, the way it scales differently.
Feel free to show your work. Sure. We are very much just casually streaming. We're playing WoW anyway, so we just want to stream what we're doing. Not because we particularly think that we've got good content, but we've been playing WoW for a long while.
Well, they've had this with a few other mechanics too, a lot of which have also showed up on Blood Decay, but when you have like positive feedback,
we're not looking to really get too invested into it just yet, but can definitely keep you details for future, should we grow.
I'm out of range.
Switch to me actually playing. Me and my brother decided to start streaming when The War Within launched. We just got a couple of stuff together, a couple of bits and bobs, just so that we could have a good joint approach. He can stream from his side, I can stream from my side, I can show his camera and his game when we're streaming. But we started War Within, but we've been playing WoW for nearly 20 years, so...
you get closer.
But yeah, if you want to send your details over, it's just the channel name, twintailtalon@gmail.com. We'll get you definitely saved. Take a look at some of your work if you've got any. Always good to see what other people are up to. I think our Discord server is down below. If you join that, you'll be able to reach us. Otherwise, it's .vigil. Oh, what's that? Yeah, dot and then that, and then full stop again. Twitch thought that I was sending a command, but apparently they start with full stop.
It's too far away.
Well, we'll see.
drones. I will end you myself. You'll falter, my swarm. Gather my prey to me.
I'm out of range.
My watch ends.
Once, my people thrived under the guise Queen Neferis refused to reclaim that glory. But no more. Ansurek and the Black Blood will usher in a new age for Azj-Kahet.
It's too far away. I need to get closer.
This guy's got to put more cooldowns.
The harvest will prevail!
It's too far away.
Boy, take you all!
happy to get out of that party because it wasn't good. So Anna, do you have like a website or anything? Anything that just showcases your work? Or like stuff that you've done for other streamers?
So here we are. High Speaker Eirich. Or is it just Eirich now? He's fled from the Hall of Awakening into the Stone Vault. He's probably running like a frightened mouse. Wee sleeked, cowering, timorous beastie. What's this? Is that Golem fused with something else? Titanic earthen technology enhanced with magical augments. Brilliant.
Activating defense protocols. Seismic protocol activated. Offensive measures engaged. Dominant intruder identified. Offensive measures seismic protocol activated. Offensive measures engaged. Seismic protocol activated. Dominant all systems shutting down.
Looks like the main door is locked. Either one of these paths should lead us to an access console.
Oh, that was difficult.
A golem fused with scarred and corruption? Fascinating. Look for a service tunnel nearby. You should be able to take a minecart back to central processing. Machine speakers in the stone vault. Fanatically loyal, no doubt.
Intruders detected. Defense protocols activated. Countermeasures on.
Incinerate!
Build it up.
Ignite!
Countermeasures on.
Break it down!
I'm going to need some personal time.
So much left unbuilt.
Look for another minecart. If it's here, we might as well use it, unless you'd rather walk.
Should have seen that come up.
There he is. Look at him. Beyond saving. That seems like poetic justice, but let's finish this.
Yeah, I've checked Discord, mate. I've got nothing impending. Where did you put it?
I'm out of range.
I don't know where I'm checking in Discord. I've no DMs. And there's nothing. Which person did you send it to on the Discord?
It's too far away.
Can't see anything on Discord, mate. Oh good, that I will be stopping YouTube stream and Twitch stream now anyway. Because the family gets home, so bye stream.